Thanks so much for joining us and welcome back to WAMS Webinar Wednesdays. My name is Ashli Lopp, Marketing Manager at WAMS, and today we will discuss 6 vital layers of a cybersecurity solution. For any of you unfamiliar, I'll share a little about us. We've been around since 1974. We work with small businesses and law firms, and we do specialize in IT for the legal industry. We keep our agreements friendly and always approach contracts with a win-win philosophy. Our team is comprised of experts with certifications in every platform we work with, and as always, WAMS is dedicated to the success of our clients. We measure our success by how well we take care of our clients. A little bit more about what we do. We provide managed IT services, cloud services, projects and consulting, security auditing and implementation, disaster recovery, and training. We can be reached at 800-421-7151 and wamsinc.com. Now a little bit more about what we will discuss today, the 6 vital layers of a cybersecurity solution, which are network security, security policies, software-based malware protection, access control measures, data protection, and monitoring and testing. So first and foremost, why is layered security important? It's important to remember that no single point in a computer system can be truly fully secure. That's currently a myth because you may be fully protected today, but tomorrow could bring a whole new vulnerability or way to attack that's never existed. Layered security implements multiple mitigating layers of defense, so culprits have to break through multiple robust security measures at the same time to infiltrate your system. Being completely honest with you all, hackers don't often have much trouble figuring out how to break one layer of security in a system, but layers of security put into effect correctly will force hackers to break literally hundreds of additional layers of security simultaneously. Quite difficult, right? So far, hackers are very rarely able to get through all of the security measures within a system. Layered cybersecurity has proven thus far to be an effective method of protection. Think of your front door even. Most people have 2 locks, some will chain the door as well, and some even have home security systems. Home security is a different discussion entirely, of course, but any logical person understands that multiple layers of security will mean that you are more secure, right? Well, that kind of goes exponentially when it comes to security within your network. And now it may go without saying that your networks, routers, computers, and servers all should be secure. Sensitive data is often held in its own part of a network, so potentially compromised systems are unable to access this data. This is often why we recommend working off of a cloud solution and not storing any sensitive data locally on your actual device. Layered cybersecurity is all about the right internal controls, as well as ensuring you are working with security vendors and integrators you trust. When security measures are layered properly, firms and businesses can protect their data against some of the most advanced culprits. Law firms especially are not new to security regulations and compliancy standards as often required by their clients and/or their insurance providers. HIPAA, the CCPA in California, and the GDPR for any companies working with data within European jurisdiction are a few standards that affect the way a firm must protect client data. We perform security audits to find vulnerabilities and work with clients required to meet these standards frequently, and it's no surprise to us that requirements and recommendations have only increased in recent times. I'm sure most of you are aware that cyber attacks have only increased exponentially and show no sign of stopping. But how serious has it become? Let's take a brief look at the current climate. Ransomware has cost companies over $20 billion in the last year. Another one, according to Microsoft, 96.88% of all ransomware infections take under 4 hours to successfully infiltrate their target. The fastest malicious software can take over a company's system in under 45 minutes. This is why, and we'll get into this a little bit more later, but this is why round-the-clock monitoring is so incredibly important. In 2020, 73% of all ransomware attacks were successful. However, 24% of attacks were intercepted before they could encrypt any data. This means that anti-ransomware software is stopping a significant number of attacks. Ransomware attacks don't just cause monetary damage either. In the United States alone, 764 healthcare providers temporarily stopped operations because of ransomware in 2019, as well as 113 government institutions and 1,233 universities and school districts. These attacks can have a huge impact on the lives of citizens who depend on those services and can potentially be fatal. And one more, because I know for many of you it will be just a little bit too close to home. Of all ransomware attacks on enterprises in 2020, 55% hit businesses with fewer than 100 employees, while an entire 75% of attacks were on companies making less than $50 million in revenue. Unfortunately, these numbers only continue to grow and show no sign of stopping. For this reason, we continue to add layers to the cybersecurity solutions we offer, because it is vital to us as an IT company to keep our clients and ourselves as safe as possible. Now let's take a deeper look into the 6 layers of cybersecurity to help mitigate your risk for attack. So we'll go ahead and start with network security, as it tends to be kind of all-encompassing. Securing your network should always be of the utmost importance to your security solution, of course. Hackers must be able to access your network if they are going to try to get into your organization's computers and servers. You have a better chance of keeping hackers out with properly configured, up-to-date routers and firewalls. Network security should also utilize zero trust networking practices, which take into account network environments such as work from home environments, and particularly the cloud, as it is not on your business's physical network. Zero trust practices include setting up policies that require verification in order to authorize access to files. Basically, you treat every device as if it's not part of your organization until verified. Zero trust practices are essential to a healthy security policy. It takes just a single vulnerability in order for hackers to slip into your network, and unfortunately, as we've seen, new vulnerabilities come to light every single day. Proper network security practices should always be a main focus in keeping your firm or business safe. Next up, we have your security policies. We've said it a million times, but unfortunately, this only continues to be true. Your weakest line of defense is your staff. Most breaches happen due to poor decisions made by the decision makers responsible for choosing security solutions for their networks. Upper management is often in charge of implementing the security policies designed to prevent access to unauthorized users. A strong security policy can systematically prevent data breaches and keep everyone aware of security protocols within your organization. Your policies should clearly state acceptable and unacceptable use and access of your data. We can't tell you how many times we have read story after story of data breaches and fraud due to poorly trained employees. Whether it was opening that email and downloading that malicious attachment or responding to a phishing email, there are so many ways you can lose money or let culprits into your system. I even have a family member whose employee almost fell for the classic phishing CEO email gift card scam. If you aren't familiar with these types of scams, I'll explain briefly. A culprit will send an email pretending to be the CEO of a company and will ask an employee to buy gift cards on the company card and send them the information on the gift cards they would need to use them online. There are usually many classic telltale signs that this did not come from the head of a company, and here are a few ways to keep an eye out for it. Definitely question everything. If this person does not usually contact you, you should absolutely question it. Number 2, always check the email address it's actually coming from, not just the name of the sender. Sometimes they will put the name that shows up in your actual inbox, but when you click on it, you can see the real email address that it's come from. Be aware of that. Also be aware of signatures, misspellings, and anything else that may seem fishy, pun intended. And whenever in doubt, give that person a call. You'd be amazed how much you can figure out with a phone call. And if you are not regularly contacted by this person, again, like I said, check with your supervisor, check with someone. Always check before you act. And these are just a few ways to verify the message is legitimate. I have seen some of the smartest people fall for these types of scams with the best of intentions, and for this reason, many choose to require regular security trainings and simulations to keep your team aware of the latest attacks and vigilant in protecting themselves from them. Access control measures, which we will dive deeper into in a bit, are also vital to an effective security policy. Next up, we have software-based malware protection. This is pretty straightforward, but we are not talking about the free antivirus many of us used in the beginning of the digital age. Today's software for malware protection is far more advanced than it was even in recent years. Software-based solutions come with many features that include intrusion detection systems. We include that with our managed care threat detection here at WAMS. Encryption tools, anti-spam tools, software-based firewalls, virus detection software, and email security solutions such as Mimecast, which is what we offer here at WAMS as well. Next up, we have access control measures. As I said earlier, access by unauthorized users is usually the most common cause of a data breach. As a result, companies looking to protect vital data must implement best practices for controlling access. This is one area your cybersecurity policy will come into play. Password requirements and multi-factor authentication should be part of your policy, as well as ensuring the least number of users possible have access to your sensitive data. This is often referred to as role-based access control, sometimes known as RBAC. Role-based access control refers to restricting your enterprise users' permissions to their roles within your business infrastructure. In other words, RBAC only permits users access to what they absolutely need to perform their job functions. For example, an ordinary member of your accounting office shouldn't have access to your digital financial accounts. This goes hand in hand with privilege-based access. If it isn't necessary for their job to be done, they simply should not be capable of accessing it. Zero trust identity security also is an important principle, basically meaning that your security doesn't trust any user or application under any circumstances without verifying their identity first. Hence why we recommend MFA or multi-factor authentication to verify legitimacy before granting access. Having a procedure and/or somewhat automating the onboarding process will also help you to ensure there are no holes left when new team members begin accessing their accounts. This is also when your new staff should learn your company's password requirements and start to get comfortable with them. Offboarding employees correctly is also equally important. You want to have a policy in place to offboard employees in a timely manner as well. Failing to offboard your team members properly leaves room for identity management problems in the long run, and orphaned accounts, as they are often called, can be left unmonitored for years until culprits use them to get through to your network and data. The next layer we have is data protection. Data should always be encrypted when stored, and keys must be saved using secure practices. Organizations should make use of data backups to avoid losing important information when hard drives fail or when an intruder deletes data within a system. We recommend storing your data in multiple locations, and a redundant offsite backup solution is your best defense against an attack. If your data is compromised and someone accesses it, there is nothing that can be done to get that data back from them. If you are hit with another attack, such as ransomware, and you have a backup solution in place, you are able to wipe your system completely and use a backup to restore your data. Certainly, you will lose a few hours or at most a day's worth of productivity, but that's a far better outcome than all your data being frozen and inaccessible. And last but certainly not least, for the final layer, we have monitoring and testing. One of the best ways to keep your network secure is to test your systems regularly. At WAMS, we are starting more regular security audits to ensure our clients are aware of any new vulnerabilities within their networks. We also regularly and actively monitor our clients' systems for unauthorized access, security patches and updates, and any other ways we can improve their security solution. We also actively test your backups for reliability to ensure business continuity. We work to keep your organization protected as well as mitigate the chances of data being breached or compromised. Our detailed security audits show vulnerabilities and provide recommendations for mitigating those risks. If your IT service provider is not regularly monitoring and testing your systems, you're going to want to start that discussion. To sum it all up, if you remember one thing from this presentation, please let it be this. Your security policy sets access control measures that dictate your network security to protect the data that, with help of software-based malware protection, is being monitored and tested. And if that isn't the case, it's time to make some changes. Thank you again for joining us today. If you have any questions or would like WAMS to conduct a security assessment, please email us at info@wamsinc.com. That is info@wamsinc.com. We'll see you next time.